What up guys, coming at you with another AMA this week. What I'm really stoked about right now is we are launching our whey later this month. It might be out by the time you're watching this. This is a grass-fed, grass-finished whey isolate. We used Irish grass-fed, grass-finished whey. They use Jersey cows. It's a specific breed of cow that is an extremely healthy cow. If you've tried whey before and you're like, oh, it hurt my gut, you need to try a high-quality whey isolate. If you're getting whey from sick cows, and on top of that, a lot of these brands add gums, artificial sweeteners, preservatives into their whey, it's probably not the same type of whey or effect that you will get with this. It's an amazing complete protein. I just like adding a scoop or two to some milk, blending it in. The chocolate with a banana that we have goes amazing together. So try it out, look it up. And we also have our ashwagandha and tonga dali on our website, santacruzpaleo.com. Use the code santacruz10 and you'll save when you buy anything more than one item. Let's get into today's AMA. As always, leave your questions below. Let's get it. This question is, Brendan, what is the difference in the amino acid profile between your whey and beef isolate protein? So beef isolate is different than whey. I get this question a lot. They are both from cows. However, beef isolate is basically they take the cow and they take the isolated beef protein from that. What does that mean? It's gonna be a protein way more rich in glycine, there's gonna be less leucine, and there's also gonna be way less tryptophan and some other amino acids. This is why some people don't like beef isolate. They will hate on it because it's not a complete protein. However, beef isolate is extremely nourishing for our gut, skin, hair, and nails, as well as muscle. They have done comparisons of beef isolate with whey in terms of muscle growth, and they notice similar results. Why is that? Because you're not trying to exist off beef isolate protein. So if it's missing some amino acids, you're probably going to get that through your diet. I like beef isolate because of the effects on your skin and gut, and I also like whey because whey is sort of a better protein for just muscle growth. It has more leucine. It does have less of that glycine, but it has a more rounded amino acid profile. It's a complete protein, which means it contains all the amino acids needed for muscle growth. It is amazing when it's high quality. Whey protein can boost your natural IGF-1 levels. It's more of a complete food. It leaves me feeling a bit fuller than the beef isolate. However, beef isolate is more expensive than whey. That's why these are an amazing deal. So I like using both. Sometimes I'll do one scoop of one and one scoop of the other in the same protein shake. So yeah, this question is, Brendan, is it better to eat a breakfast that doesn't really have a lot of good nutrition in there, or am I better off skipping it and sort of waiting till later in the day? So there is sort of a myth that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. While I do like getting some protein in the morning, when I'm traveling and I don't have access to a good breakfast, I'm totally willing to just have water and maybe a little bit of coffee until I wait towards lunch where I can get like a nutrient-dense meal. Food quality really does matter, and if for some reason the only breakfast options you have are like a bagel or some cereal or something like that, I personally would skip it. However, I don't know what's going on with you, because you can just get some protein powder and have that as your breakfast. You can get some eggs and have that as your breakfast. So if you're in some unique situation where all you can get is bad food in the beginning of the day and good food later, I would wait until you can get that good food. The next question is, Brendan, what are your thoughts on apple cider vinegar? So apple cider vinegar has gone very viral because people make all these claims about it, that, oh, if you take a shot of apple cider vinegar, you'll lose weight, or if you take a shot of apple cider vinegar, it'll fix your skin. This really isn't completely true. Apple cider vinegar can have some health benefits. However, you do not need to be drinking it or doing a vinegar cleanse. I have apple cider vinegar in my fridge. I like using it maybe as a dressing of some sort, in marinades, stuff like that. However, the health claims about apple cider vinegar are a bit overblown. It does contain some enzymes and prebiotics and has some digestive benefits, but you do not need to be drinking it before every meal. It's overblown. The next question is, Brendan, does weightlifting affect flexibility? Is there sort of a relationship that where the stronger you get, the less flexible you get? The answer is no. Now, flexibility is a very interesting term because a lot of people do this static stretching, and research has shown that you really don't want to do too much static stretching. There is basically a relationship with strength and flexibility that is not linear. It's not like the stronger you get, the less flexible you get. You can train both. What I'd highly recommend looking into is a type of training called FRC, Functional Range Conditioning. This is sort of a flexibility training, but it's using active range of motion. What does this mean? If I take my shoulder, I could stretch it back this far, right? I could push it back. But what is the usable range of motion without extra tension on my shoulder. That is going to translate over to sport. Look up FRC and look up some of those principles, and you will start to get stronger and more flexible. The next question is, Brendan, what is the best way to filter my tap water? So we don't really want to be drinking tap water because it is chlorinated, it is fluoridated, and it's really contaminated in most cities in the United States. You need to be very careful about drinking tap water. You can look up what is in your tap water by looking up EWG tap water, type in your city's zip code, and see what's in there. It's usually not good. In most cities, there's a select few, Tahoe has pretty good tap water, but your city probably doesn't, and here's what you can do about that. What you want to do is get a reverse osmosis filter for the water you drink. There are countertop reverse osmosis systems. There are ones that you install under your sink, so all the water coming out of your faucet is filtered through a reverse osmosis system. That is what you want to do for the water you drink. If you can't do that, you can go to a store usually. Whole Foods has them here, Sprouts has them, and they will have a reverse osmosis fill-up station. You can take a big 5-gallon jug there, BPA-free plastic. You can fill that thing up once a week, and that is the water you consume. For your shower, you want to get a shower filter. I have 2 organic Jaguar shower filters and various showers in my house. What that does is filter out chlorine and other contaminants, so I'm not bathing in tap water. Chlorine especially is what I'm trying to filter out there. That is what I do for water consumption, and you should too. The next question is, Brendan, do you know anything about kidney stones and spinach? So spinach is very high in oxalic acid, which has definitely been shown to have a correlation with kidney stones. If you get too much oxalic acid or oxalates in your diet, you can be at a higher risk for kidney stones. Now, does this mean I'm in the Paul Saladino camp of avoid all oxalates? No. And you know what the funny thing is about him? Neither is he. Fruit has oxalates, okay? It is not about if you eat any oxalates, it's gonna damage you. It's about how much. If you're consuming a lot of raw spinach especially, and you're not cooking it, and if you're just going crazy with it, you can get damage from oxalates, okay? So there is real research on this. It's not some complete myth, but it's also not something most people need to worry about if you're eating a balanced diet. However, the fake healthy diet, vegan, that can really get to a load where you're getting a lot of oxalates, a lot of phytic acid very quickly. So I do think there's a lot of valid points about it, but for most people listening to this, you're eating meat, you're eating eggs, some veggies, you're eating some spinach sometime, you're gonna be fine, and there might be some health benefits of that spinach. The next question is, Brendan, how many minutes of cold exposure would you consider optimal? So if you know, I have a plunge. I have one of these cold plunge tubs, and I do like to do cold exposure. Oftentimes after I surf, I will take off my wetsuit and jump in the Northern California Ocean, which is usually around 54 to 56 degrees. So that's another area that I got cold exposure, and sometimes I'll do cold showers. Now, cold exposure can be sort of catabolic to muscle growth. However, that's when it's done too often. You don't want to be doing intense cold exposure every day. I also believe it can raise cortisol levels. Now, there aren't really any very solid studies on this, but if you are shocking your body every day with intense cold exposure, while it can have benefits for like dopamine, I don't think it is a great thing for your stress hormones. So what do I recommend? 10 to 12 minutes per week. So that means if you're doing, a few 3-minute ice baths per week, I think that's great. If you're doing some cold showers and cold exposure a few times per week, great. I would not do it every day. I would get about 10 to 12 minutes per week. The next question is, Brendan, what are your thoughts on going on a sugar detox, including fruits? So obviously I include fruit and other carbohydrates in my diet, so I'm not somebody who is anti-sugar. I would absolutely recommend starting with a processed sugar detox. What does this mean? Coconut sugar, brown rice syrup, agave syrup, high fructose corn syrup, regular corn syrup, molasses powder. All these types of sugar or processed sugar that they sneak into your diet, I would eliminate those. Dextrose, all that stuff is processed sugar. Try going without that. And you know what you'll notice if you haven't done that before? It is difficult. Why? Your gut bacteria is literally trying to convince you to eat more sugar because you've become adapted to it. Fruit and other actual food-based sweeteners from sugar are different. And I'll tell you why. There are polyphenols in fruit. There are prebiotics in fruit. There are vitamins and minerals that help our health. In honey, there is prebiotics, enzymes. Now, I would not recommend going crazy eating tons of fruit, tons of honey, tons of maple syrup. Tone that down a bit, limit your fructose and glucose consumption, but you don't need to cut out fruit. The next question is, Brendan, what do you think of glutamine? Glutamine is an amazing supplement. It's not something we sell, but it is something that I actually have in my regular routine. I have glutamine powder, and what I like to do is take about 5 grams of that, maybe a few times per week, throw it in some water with some of our creatine powder, and I mix that up. Sometimes I'll put our electrolytes in there, and that is a really good post-workout beverage. Why is it a good post-workout beverage? L-glutamine helps with muscle recovery. It also helps with gut and immune function. There are some amazing studies on this, and glutamine is a tremendous supplement when healing your gut. I'm a big fan of glutamine. It is in our leaky gut capsules that we have at Santa Cruz Medicinals, but you can get glutamine powder also. Just get some on Amazon. I like the brand Haro. They make a good glutamine powder. I think Thorne makes a good one. You do want to get a high quality glutamine powder. You take a little bit. It has a slightly sweet taste as well, so it's not like hard to drink. And I'm a big fan of glutamine. The next question is, Brendan, what do you think of beta-carotene? So beta-carotene is this form of vitamin A that we find in plant foods. So sweet potatoes, rich in beta-carotene. When they say carrots are good for your eyes, that's because vitamin A in the form of beta-carotene is in carrots. So what do I think of beta-carotene? Well, I am a fan of it because look, some of this is going to get converted into retinol, which has tremendous benefits for our skin, our eyes. Vitamin A is great. However, the conversion is pretty poor. So when you look at animal-based foods that have vitamin A in the form of retinol compared to beta-carotene in plants and like sweet potatoes and stuff like that, retinol is superior. So I like getting retinol from milk, I like getting retinol from eggs, I like getting retinol from beef liver, but beta-carotene isn't something you should avoid, but if it's your main source of vitamin A or what you're going after, the conversion is pretty poor. The next question is, Brendan, depending on where you come from in the world, how do you get tan, basically, is the question. You know, different skin tones, what would you do? How do I get tan? So here is an exact protocol of how to properly absorb the sun. If you are very white, you come from a Nordic background, you're Irish or German or you're a Viking, whatever, you will burn faster. Now, the sun emits different UV spectrums throughout different times of the day. So if I had very white skin, my mom was born in India, I actually absorbed the skin pretty well, I get tan easily. But let's say I did not. Here's what I would do. I would go out into the sun in the morning. When it's first rising, I would get full body sun exposure. This does a myriad of beneficial things. First of all, just getting light into your eyes in the morning signals to your circadian rhythm what time it is, cranks up your cortisol in a healthy fashion, and is amazing for you. So I would get outside in the sun in the morning. And then during the hot hours of the day when that sun is peaking and that UV spectrum is very high, I would definitely cover myself with clothing, wearing a hat, maybe some zinc oxide natural mineral sunscreen if you're going to be in the sun for an exposed time because you don't want to get burnt. And then during sunset, I would get out in the sun again, you know, completely bare chested, all that, not wearing sunscreen personally is what I would do. And you start to build up this solar callus by exposing yourself to less UV strength, but you're still getting that UV exposure. Over time, if you do this, you're going to start developing what's called a solar callus, and you'll be able to tolerate more sunlight. This is a slow process. Don't get burnt. Wear sun protection when you need, but that is how I would go about it. The next question is, Brendan, what are your thoughts on ultra pasteurized, ultra heated dairy and milk products? So there's been this whole debate about raw milk, and I think it is important to say raw milk can be a dangerous food, okay? Absolutely, it is a more dangerous food than, let's say, cooked meat, okay? 100%. Raw milk can get you sick. Soak in oysters, soak in sushi, soak in lettuce. Lettuce kills far more people than raw dairy every year. And you might say, well, Brendan, that's because not too many people are consuming raw dairy. Yeah, you got a good point there. But here's the deal. I still drink pasteurized dairy. There's a brand called Alexandra's out there, and they do a low temp pasteurization. Personally, these flash heated pasteurization methods where they're really exposing it to an extremely high level of heat, I think it's going to degrade almost all the probiotics from that dairy. And people will say, well, you can just get yogurt with probiotics. It's definitely true. I'm not against pasteurized dairy, but I would look towards some of those low temp pasteurized dairies as they're out there. They're sold almost everywhere, and they are deemed a completely safe food because they are not raw, but they use a different pasteurization process. The next question is, Brendan, what do you think about a 36-gram limit on sugar per day? Listen, it depends on the source of sugar you're getting. If you're getting that through natural sources like fruit, sweet potatoes, rice, you know, bananas, honey, I mean, honestly, I don't even think that's enough. You would want to hit this, you know, minimum 100, 200, 300 grams of carbohydrates per day is usually what I hit. And that's from natural sugars. It gets broken down into sugar in my body, but it has a tremendously different effect than processed sugar on my gut microbiome, the other minerals, prebiotics, enzymes I'm getting from that food, vitamins, minerals. So as far as if you're getting 36 grams of processed sugar, I think that's way too much. Way too much. Unless you're an ultra endurance athlete, I see no need to supplement with any type of processed sugar. I don't even see a need for the ultra endurance athletes. There's a lot of them killing it right now that just use honey and food-based sources of carbohydrates. So 36 grams of processed sugar, no. 36 grams of carbohydrates, you probably need more. So that's my answer. Hey, this next question is, this guy says he's scared of bugs, okay? And he's scared to travel because he has a fear of cockroaches and beetles and spiders or whatever. I mean, guys, roast this guy in the comments below. No, I'm just joking. Look, bugs, you have to realize there's a natural fear of some of these things. It's actually why human beings have oftentimes put the master bedroom and the bedrooms of the house on the second floor. We have an innate internal thing to avoid bugs and snakes, one of the deepest fears that people have, because through our evolution, if you didn't avoid snakes and bugs, you could die. You need to basically explain to yourself, your rational mind, that hey, nowadays a cockroach is not going to kill you, a beetle is not going to kill you, most likely a spider is not going to kill you. You need to just sort of get over it using your rational mind, but also acknowledge that you have a fear based in reality about it, but then use your rational mind to be like, okay, I'm probably not going to die from some bugs. Get over it. The next question is, Brendan, how can I get rid of acne scars? So maybe they had some acne and they started cleaning up their diet, like I talk about all the time, realizing the gut-skin connection, and they've cleared up a lot of their actual acne, but they still have some scarring. So vitamin E is something you can look into, topical vitamin E and topical vitamin C. I've looked at some papers on this. It does appear that these can help. This is where you could go to an esthetician, someone who's really legit, and say you want to go the natural route and you want to clear up some of your scarring. They can provide tremendous benefit. Now you need to be careful because some of those products can be pretty toxic. You need to work with one that's sort of a holistic esthetician. They will probably be able to guide you in the right way, but there are topical products that could help with that scarring. The next question is, Brendan, what is the science behind beef tallow? Why is it good for your skin? What is going on there? So beef tallow is an amazing moisturizer for the skin because it closely mimics our body's natural oil, our sebum. And people hear sebum and the dermatology industry has scared them of this. They say sebum, acne, sebum. This doesn't make sense. This is the natural oil our body produces. What happens when you follow this real like dermatology mindset is you start to strip the oils from your skin. You get drying, face cleansers and wash your face twice a day. If washing your face twice a day fixed acne, we would not have acne in this country because it's been pushed on us so hard. Also, if washing your face twice a day prevented acne, why do so many people throughout the world not have acne and they have no concept of a face wash? This is because your body's natural oils do not work against you. What happens when you use beef tallow is your body realizes, okay, my skin is not dry because I provided some moisture to it. And so it's not gonna overproduce this oil. When you dry your skin out, it's gonna signal, your skin is an organ, it's intelligent, it's communicating with your brain, your gut, your other body systems, it's part of your immune system. It's going to signal that it's dry and it needs to produce more oil. So it actually makes your skin worse when you dry it out. So you wanna keep it nice and moisturized. Our beef tallow is also filtered, so it doesn't have a crazy beefy smell. Maybe a very slight beef smell, but it's not a crazy potent smell. It's also non-comedogenic, meaning it doesn't clog your pores at all. So try a little bit. You take a little bit of beef tallow, rub it on your face after you shower, and you will see the benefits as thousands of other people have by switching to beef tallow skincare. The next question is, Brendan, what are your thoughts on those smelling salts before lifting weight? So it's funny, I was in the gym with Lance and he had some of them and I was trying them. I mean, I don't really see how it would provide an actual benefit. I'd love to see a study on these smelling salts. They sort of give you the smell like, whoa, it just like fires you up a little bit. There might be some short-term release of some, excitatory neurotransmitters because of the smell. But guys, it's not gonna make a huge difference. If you have fun doing it, go for it, but you could also probably like blow out your olfactory nerves and stuff, so you might want to be a little careful with that if you're doing it too often. The next question is, Brendan, what are your thoughts on mud water? Mud water is this coffee alternative beverage. It's advertised heavily on TikTok and Instagram, so a lot of people ask me about it. First of all, I sort of know the founder of Mud Water. One of my good buddies, Kyle Tierman, started working for them, and he knows the founder really well, so I've tried Mud Water. They've sent me stuff before. I think it is a good coffee alternative. Now, I'm not anti-coffee, that's the thing. So a lot of their advertisements are like, F your coffee, coffee sucks. I don't quite agree with that. I had coffee this morning, some black coffee with some raw milk. It was delicious. I look at a bunch of research on coffee. I don't really see any deleterious effects of drinking coffee and actually see some benefits. The timing of it, sure, if coffee makes you very jittery, you might want to lower your actual consumption of it, but I don't really see any issues with coffee. But if you like mud water, I think that's totally fine. I've seen some people taking a scoop of mud water, putting it in some dairy, and putting our beef isolate protein, like the horchata, and that's what they drink in the morning. I think that's really cool. Cool company overall though. They're putting some money into like psychedelic research and other stuff like that. So yeah, good people. Brendan, let's rank the bottled waters. What are good bottled waters? Okay, so you're in a store and you're looking at this giant wall of bottled waters. How do I pick a bottled water? So first of all, I'm looking for glass packaging. These plastic packages have sat there for a long time. The only time I'm really drinking water out of a plastic bottle, single use, is if I'm in an airport and that is the only water that I can get access to. So if I'm going plastic, just traditional like water in a 7-Eleven, whatever it is, Fiji is my choice. Fiji has a good amount of silica, which supports our skin health. It's amazing. If I have my, litter's pick of bottled water, I am going with the glass Mountain Valley Spring. It's been tested time after time. It's delicious. It's amazing. Mountain Valley Spring is just delicious. And you'll see me drinking those green bottles all the time. It's usually just refilled from my reverse osmosis filter underneath my sink, and I oftentimes put a scoop of our electrolytes in there. That's oftentimes what I'm drinking when you see that green bottle. But yeah, let me know below which bottled water you like. The next question is, Brendan, what are your thoughts on almond milk? So, almond milk is something that I'm not against. However, many of these brands put gums, sweeteners, food dyes, sugar. It's insane. It's like you pick up that almond milk and the ingredient should be water and almonds. However, that's not the case for probably 99% of the brands out there. There is a brand called Milk, which I am a fan of, and you can also make your own almond milk. Lately, I've switched to drinking way more full-fat dairy. My body just does way better with that, and it's going to be way more rich in calcium, vitamin K2, phosphorus, potassium. It seems like full-fat dairy just kind of solos everything. However, almond milk can be a good one if you don't do well with dairy. Just make sure you're not getting one of these brands with 90 gums in them. The next question is, Brendan, what is your sleep schedule? When do you go to bed? When do you wake up? What is the optimal sleep schedule? So, first of all, let's get this out of the way, guys. You do not need to wake up at 4 a.m. to be successful. I see all these videos on TikTok, people going, you need to wake up at 4 a.m. to be successful. I don't. I'm pretty successful. You don't need to wake up at 4 a.m. You know what happens to a lot of those 4 a.m. guys? They're asleep by 7 p.m. I get some of my best work done from 8 to 10 p.m. The house is quiet. I'm just on my computer, just grinding out stuff, okay? So you do not need to wake up at 4 a.m. What I think you need to do is make sure you get 8 hours of deep rest. So you should have a sleep schedule. Mine is 11 to 7. I'm in bed by probably 10:30. I'm asleep at 11 almost every night, and I'm up at 7 a.m. And that gives me adequate time to get rest. I like to get up. I like to get out in the sun, do my stretching and hydration routine. You need to get that sleep, and you should probably stay on a consistent sleep schedule. That can be different for you. You could go to bed at midnight and wake up at 8. You could go to bed at 10 and wake up at 6. You need to allocate enough time for sleep and stick to that schedule. All right, that is it for this week's AMA. Leave more questions below, and as always, hit that subscribe button. We have amazing new products launching. We're working on the pre-workout for probably an October launch. Beef tallow sells out in like minutes, so if you see it in stock, get your beef tallow. Good luck. Electrolytes, we're launching lemonade and kiwi soon. It's just amazing what we have going on here. The products are unbelievable, and the stuff we have coming out is unbelievable. I'm super stoked about it all. So yeah, get after it. It's summer, it's still warm out. Get outside, tag me in your videos of you getting outside, using our products, all that. I appreciate you guys so much. I'll see you around. Peace out.